Ian Watson speaking to me a little earlier. Well, let's return to the news that the Oscar-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman has been found dead in his New York apartment. He was 46 years old. Reports coming in that he died of a suspected drug overdose. And I'm joined on set now by Vincent Dowd, our arts correspondent, entertainment correspondent. And Vincent, tribute starting to come into a man who clearly was a big presence both on the theatre stage and on the movie screens.
Yes, even like someone like Ricky Gervais, who you might not connect with Hoffman, has tweeted, "Such shocking and sad news, R.I.P. Philip Seymour Hoffman. One of the greatest actors of a generation and a sweet, funny and humble man." And that point about being a great actor, nobody would disagree with. It's not just his movie career. He did at least three, in the last few years, he did 3 huge roles on Broadway. He was the lead in Death of a Salesman. He was in O'Neill's Long Day's Journey into Night. He was in Sam Shepard's True West. From memory, he was nominated. I think he may even have got all 3 Tonys for that, the major acting award. As well as that, as we've probably already heard, he had 1 Oscar and he had 3 supporting acting nominations. So he was an absolutely major actor, and I think people both on the East Coast and West Coast of America will be shocked that at the age of 46 he has died. It appears, we should say for the moment, it appears from a drugs overdose. He had spoken not that long ago about his, shall we say, relationship with alcohol and with drugs. He'd been candid about that. That's something which was out in the open, and he had at one point discussed the fact that he had, shall we say, a relationship with heroin. None of that takes away from the fact that he was an absolutely superb actor.
Yes, another tribute coming in, speaking at the London Critics Circle Film Awards in central London. John Hurt saying it's a devastating loss. His contribution was massive. John Hurt starred with Seymour Hoffman, I think, in Owning Mahoney back in 2003. And this contribution really spanned, as we were saying, not just film and stage, but he directed as well. So he was a man of many talents.
And he could be, it sounds almost perverse to say it on an evening like this, but he could be a very, very funny actor. He could also be hugely serious. I remember sitting next to him, as it happens, I never got around to talking to him, at a theatre in London just a couple of years ago. And he had a huge presence. He wasn't a small man anyway, but he had a huge presence when you saw him. You knew he was somebody of weight in absolutely every sense. We've had another tribute here from the American singer and actress Lindsay Pearce, who said, "Too many souls keep being lost to substance abuse. Thoughts to Philip Seymour Hoffman's loved ones, and all affected by his loss. So sad." We should say for the moment we are assuming that it will be concluded that he died of a drugs overdose. That at the moment seems to be the way the story is going. He wasn't married, but he had a long-term partner in Mimi O'Connell, who was a very well-known designer, and they had 3 kids, aged between roughly 10 and 5, I think. So that's a huge personal tragedy from them, for them. But the acting world and the movie world and the theatre world, not just in New York but in London as well, will be absolutely shocked at news of his death.
Yeah, and a career which had spanned a good stretch. I mean, looking back, sort of The Talented Mr. Ripley, that was back in, 1999. People will remember him in movies like that, which were very mainstream. But as you were saying, he really sort of did all manner of films.
And if you just take that one film by, sadly, the late Anthony Minghella, itself an interesting role for him, because it wasn't the main role. He came in, I don't know, roughly the last 30 or 40 minutes of the film. Some people might suggest he kind of stole the movie. And you kind of, again, it's perverse today to say this, but you almost smile at the memory, because he was such a presence on film. And in fact, although he came to a sticky end in that film, he was quite funny. There was a wit and there was an elan and an energy to everything he did. He will be hugely missed.
Cold Mountain is another one people will remember, 2003.
Yes, in some ways a more serious film, yes.
But just showing the range, really, again. We were talking earlier to Toby Earle, film critic. He was saying, he had an ability to be sinister as well as funny.
Yeah, and if you think of The Master, which I think was the last film for which he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, in that case he didn't get it, but that's only 2 years ago. Now, if I'm honest, The Master was not a great movie. I think people were slightly disappointed by it. It didn't do that well in the Oscars. But again, huge presence with Joaquin Phoenix together. They kind of worked together and they had a kind of wonderful chemistry on screen. If you wanted a rather sinister leading man, or even, which I think is what, as he was heading towards 50, he himself was heading towards being more of a kind of character actor, but an absolutely wonderful character actor in the way that Orson Welles, who actually slightly resembled, became a great character actor. So maybe he wasn't going to star in that many more movies, but he would have been in demand in Hollywood for the next 20 years. Such a tragedy that he's gone.
Well, Vincent, thanks very much indeed. For people just joining us, let's just reiterate what we know. The award-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman apparently found dead in his apartment, in the bathroom of his apartment in Manhattan in New York. Police saying that there was a 911 emergency call from a friend. No further details really. Suspected or apparent drug overdose, but it's very early, as Vincent was saying, to confirm that in any way, and clearly there is a long way to go for police investigators, but that emergency call being made around 11:15 in the morning in New York time, but that was only about 4:15 GMT. And the very sad news then coming in that just at the age of 46, Philip Seymour Hoffman found dead in his apartment, and leaving a partner of many years and 3 children, I think all under the age of about 10. So sad news both on a personal level, but also as a huge presence both on the movie screen and on the theatre stage. Many tributes starting to come in, and we will continue to monitor those for you.